Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Football Fignuts podcast. This is Season 7, Episode 23. Counted all of them for some really weird reason. It's 298 episodes. I'm Craig.
And I am Britt.
Britt, we're back after the first round of playoffs.
Yeah, we'll apologize for last week. I was exhausted, and the computers decided to stop working on our end.
Things happen.
So we took an unexpected week off there, but it leaves us with a lot to talk about going into this week. But first, let's start where we always start. Craig, what are you drinking?
I am drinking this clear liquid called water because I am on drugs because my sinuses are stupid.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
So
yeah. Not that you have to have water, but that I'm sorry that your sinuses are stupid to the point where you have to have medicine for them.
Yeah.
I'm not much better. I'm drinking Pepsi Zero Sugar because I drank a lot Saturday. A lot. And we'll get into why. But first, let's do some burning hot takes. Craig, would you like to give or receive this week?
Let's go receive.
Okay, so I was looking at Twitter, which I'm not supposed to do. The court has told me I'm not allowed to do that. I did. Let them come for me. And I found an interesting question from Better Fantasy. Better Fantasy asks a serious question. Who would you rather have on your dynasty team right now? CJ Stroud or Patrick Mahomes?
Dynasty? I would say Stroud.
Okay, so explain yourself.
He is a rookie, so he's going to be in Houston for the next 4 years at least.
If he stays healthy.
Barring injury. So if he stays healthy, he's proven himself with this is going to sound bad. I don't want to say no name receivers, but if you compare beginning, in August to fantasy receivers, like he had Dawson Schultz,
Tank Dell, Nico Collins.
Sean is a Nico Collins truther. Noah came out of nowhere for a couple weeks and then he got hurt. So I think dynasty wise, he's just a better choice because this is just me, and this is me not being a Chiefs fan. The Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs that they were like when they won the Super Bowl, and it's something's off there, and it's not saying Mahomes isn't as good, but I don't know. I think the Chiefs are going to change a lot in the next 2 seasons, player wise. So I don't know.
The reason I finally have come to the conclusion, the reason why Patrick Mahomes has struggled this year is the same reason why no one would go to a Yo-Yo Ma concert if you handed him a 3rd grade violin. It don't work. We went from having Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman with everybody's favorite player. Oh God, why just blank on his name? My favorite receiver. Oh Jesus.
Byron Pringle?
Yes, thank you. My God, I'm getting old. I'm not even drinking, and that just flew out of my head. With Byron Pringle as an outlet, we went from having that and Juju Smith-Schuster, who decided to play all of 2 games last year, but did play those 2 games really well. We went from that to, all right, one of you is going to have to step up. Is it you, Marquez? I drop the ball every 3rd pass attempt, Scantling? Is it you, Rashee Rice, who just got here and barely know our offense? Hey, you know what? This is so bad. Let's go back and get Mecole Hardman because the Jets cut him.
Don't forget your best friend, Kadarius.
Oh my God, Kadarius! I did not hear his name.
Sign ex-Giant players. I'm just saying.
We didn't sign him. We traded for him.
People should not sign or trade for ex-Giants players.
It's not even like we were driving down the street and he was sitting on the side of the road and we were like, get in. We sent stuff. We paid for that contract to have him come play for us.
Yeah.
So the problem is the tools around. I am convinced that Patrick's issues this year are much more relegated to the tools around him than him himself. Now, yes, he has not played as well. He has thrown some very ugly passes. He has had games where he has looked completely out of rhythm with the offense. And part of that is obviously he's going to take responsibility for his part of that. But you went from working with Kobe grade A rare aged beef to I just bought this out of the supermarket wrapped in cellophane.
It was on the buy today shelf.
Yeah, it had the $2 off today only sticker that was conveniently somehow covering up the date of sale, the last day it could be sold. I mean, that's just coincidence, right? That they actually covered up that date with a discount sticker.
Yep.
You know, that's why I think that's. But back to the point of the, I do think the answer is CJ Stroud. I think what holds somebody back and what gives me pause from saying that is we only have very limited sample size, right? CJ Stroud has had 1 year, but to your point, he walked into a team that was not expected to perform this year, and they won the division.
Yeah.
They outplayed Jacksonville, who everybody thought was ready to take the next step, and they didn't. They outplayed the Colts, who kind of surprisingly was better than expected. Mm-hmm. And now they're in the divisional round of the playoffs, and people are finally starting to step up. And I was talking on one of my streaming friends, Terry _Zang _gaming, who was a huge fantasy football guy, and I was in his fantasy football streamers league. They were all like, "Oh no, here comes the guy for the podcast. We're all going to lose." I finished 7th.
Hey man, it happens.
It happens. I was out in the first round of the playoffs. It's fine. You know, that's why I said to people, I'm like, I do better in leagues against so-called experts than I do against my friends. I mean, I like the podcast league that you run on NFL.com. I think I've won it 1 year. I think I won it once. That's it.
Yeah, Charles Life won it twice? No, twice.
Once, but I beat her ass in the second final to teach her a lesson. Because she kept running her mouth. Oh, I beat a bunch of experts. I'm smarter than the podcasters. Yep, you won one league, lady. And now hold my beer. And that was an ugly year. The 1 year I paid attention to that. So, people think experts are going to win all the time. We don't win all the time. We sometimes I just play to have fun, and that's okay. I'm getting way off track here. Where was I going with this? Terry Zhang.
Yes.
Somebody was talking in his chat this week. We were just chatting about football, and somebody pointed out I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, and my team traded its future for Bryce Young, where we could have stood still and gotten CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
And it's already starting to feel like you took Ken O'Brien ahead of Marino.
I think next year we'll definitely be able to tell 100% if that's true or not,
right.
But I think we're on that track.
Exactly. So CJ Stroud, what hesitates me, gives me pause is maybe he's a 1 year wonder. Maybe he's not. But yes, I think the fact that the mere fact that he's younger and appears to be on a positive track makes him a more attractive buy than Patrick Mahomes in Dynasty.
For Dynasty,
absolutely. Yes.
Remember, folks, Dynasty is completely different.
Dynasty, you keep everybody year to year. I have had, in Cinch's league, I have done fairly well. This is my worst year of all. I finished like 5th or 6th. And you know why I've done fairly well? Because in the first year, I drafted Justin Herbert. And I've had Justin Herbert every year. And every year, Cinch calls me. And is like, trade me Justin Herbert. I love Justin Herbert. And I'm like, you're not going to afford him. And he's like, make an offer. And I'm like, all right, your next 6 number 1 picks. And he'll yell at me. Well, is it crazy? Yeah, it is crazy. I told you can't afford him. Because he's the only thing I've got. Like half my team is on the IR by the middle of the year. Yeah. And it's a Dynasty league with like a 25-man bench. So my best option is like Jerick McKinnon.
Or the backup in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the waiver wire, and the best available player is He Hate Me. I'm like, didn't that dude retire?
Not anymore.
Like 10 years ago. Well, let's see what the next name is down. Frank Gore. Anyway. Man. All right, so what do you got for me? What's your burning hot take this week? We agree. CJ Stroud is the better Dynasty option. Go ahead.
Yes. For me, I just want to know so this just came out today that on the last year of his contract, Mike Tomlin will return as the coach of the Steelers.
Okay.
Are you surprised by that? Are you surprised by his actions, like in his interview where he just walked away from a question? Like he literally
hold on a second.
He literally just walked out the door.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you've listened to this podcast before, you know my feelings on Mike Tomlin. You know my feelings on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you know my feeling on the way he runs an organization. That organization has been inmates running the asylum for years. Years. I go back to, I think it might have been the year before Patrick Mahomes became a starter. It might have been Alex Smith's last year. And I watched in a playoff game, and I saw a Steeler on a punt dislike where a ball went out of bounds. And when the official spotted it, he picked up the ball in front of the official and moved it.
You can't do
to
that.
Where he thought it went out of bounds, and the official snapped at him and picked up the ball and put it back, and the guy laughed. I'm like, that is clown shoes. This is the same coach who supposedly didn't know where he was going early in his career and walked out into the field and interrupted a punt return. Remember when that happened?
Oh,
when a guy was streaking down the sideline, just ran into Mike Tomlin?
Tried to kick him or trip him.
Yeah, he just ran into him. Like, okay, that and okay, so my feelings on Mike Tomlin are very clear. So when he walks out of the press conference without taking a single question, because the first question asked is, "Hey, you've only got a year on your contract. What are you going to do?" It's not shocking. It's fucking on brand. It's on brand because this is how classless of an organization he is running. If you don't want to talk about that, then you walk in the door and you go Bill Belichick on their ass. It was a tough loss. I'm really upset about it. I know there's a lot of people here who are going to talk about contracts expiring. I really just want to talk about the game and getting ready for next year. So go ahead, let's have at it. That's not what happened. He walked in, he looked around the room, he basically his glare was "Come at me, bro." And when the first question came at him, he ditched.
Yeah. I think that was his last question, but it was only like a 2-minute interview, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah. And you know what's funny is Najee Harris yesterday, he said, now, you ready? Are you sitting? This is what Najee Harris said.
I am.
The running back that I believe the Steelers really don't want there. This is what he said. The Steelers need to be more disciplined, and he's called for in-house changes in wake of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think he's not going to be a Steeler before anything like that changes. If I said that the right way.
Yes, he knows he's on his way out. They like Jalen Warren better. They're probably going to move him, and now he's just sealed his fate.
You know,
he has called out the coach.
He's been there 3 years, so yeah, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised that Tomlin's coming back because the Steelers never fire anybody.
That's true.
They've had a total of 3 coaches over the last 45 years.
Yep.
It was Chuck Noll, then it was Bill Cowher, and then it was Mike Tomlin, and that's it. And that takes you back into the late 70s. Might even be longer than that. It might be 50 years now that they've had 3 coaches. The Steelers don't fire head coaches.
They don't.
It's just not the way they do things.
The Eagles, however, do.
Yes. I have been very critical of Mike Tomlin. I will remain critical of Mike Tomlin because everything I see just reinforces the argument that there is a serious culture problem in the Steelers locker room, and it starts at the head coach. And it's not new, and it's not evolving. It is present. The end, that's it. Show me something different. Because all the evidence points to it. Everybody leaves there and has trouble where they go next. Antonio Brown couldn't cut it on any other team. So why did he cut it on the Steelers? Because the Steelers babied him for his shit. Le'Veon Bell, Juju Smith-Schuster. All of these guys go places and then change quickly because they can't work in a system where they don't get to call the shots. I'm sorry, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, no.
There's a mountain of evidence at this point that show us that the Steelers are not a class organization, and it starts and ends with their head coach. He sets the tone, and the tone he has set is, if you do well, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And that is not a class organization.
No, especially with their... And I think they're even have a harder time with their quarterback situation. I think their quarterback situation is a mess right now, and they really don't know what to do.
Yes, and you're a Steelers hater. Yes, I am, because I hate teams who are clowns. You hate them because they're in a division. You hate them like I hate the Raiders.
Yes,
right.
Yes,
but it's not. Oh, you just hate the Steelers. No, I hate what the Steelers have become because there was a time where they were a classy organization. Under Bill Cowher, they were a classy organization. They're not a classy organization anymore. They're not.
They were.
They're not.
And
So.
And the Browns are still a dumpster fire, like I told everyone.
And
believe me.
That segues us right into Wild Card Weekend, which was super if you missed it.
It was super.
Super Wild Card Weekend. I'll give you a super wild card. All right, let's just run down the games really quick. We're going to give just a minute of our insight. What did we notice? What did we see? What did we like? What did we hate? And let's just go right down the list. Let's start with Browns at Texans. The Texans advance 45-14. The one thing I saw here was that the Texans are better than people thought. The Browns won 11 games this year, guys. They were not slouches. And yes, they played a pretty easy schedule compared to some. But 11 wins is still 11 wins in the NFL. And the Texans manhandled them. And that just tells me that the Browns are still not ready for prime time. What did you learn from this game?
They're not. Their defense, it was... they were supposed to have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and the Texans, probably to everyone's surprise, pretty much shredded them, and it acted like there was no defense on the field. Mm-hmm. And that now, I'll preface this, I do not hate Joe Flacco. I like Joe Flacco.
No, we don't.
I like Joe Flacco. I can't root for him because he's a Brown, he was a Raven. I rooted for him when he was a Jet. Mm-hmm. But watching the AFC North, I've watched a lot of Joe Flacco games and clips. And this is the thing with Joe Flacco. If you're behind more than 14, I don't know if Joe Flacco's winning you the game.
Start the bus.
If you're up by 14, he's not losing you the game. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to win if your defense doesn't screw up. But if you're down by more than 2 touchdowns, yeah, not going to work.
And again, if you listened to our show before, Craig and I are big time supporters of the forgotten quarterbacks. We were champions of Blake Bortles. One of our studios is named for Blake Bortles.
That's right. Damn it.
Craig will sit and scream about the stash all day long whenever he gets a chance. He loves Gardner Minshew. Is it because he loves Gardner Minshew? No, it's because Gardner Minshew's this great comeback story. Every time they send him to the bench, somebody gets hurt, he comes in and he wins like 3 out of 4 games. Every time. But you make him a starter, and he goes 1-8, and he's back to the bench until somebody gets hurt, and he comes in and wins 3 out of 4. It's just bizarre. It's weird. So we do love the Joe Flacco story, but yeah, that's the Browns are a tire fire.
And now the Browns, you know what tops this off is the fact that the Browns gave away all of their picks to the Texans.
Yeah,
for nothing.
Yep.
So
for a guy holding the clipboard. Yep. All right, the second game on Saturday was Dolphins at Chiefs, which if you didn't see it, that's okay. A lot of people didn't because the NFL accepted a Peacock-only offer on it. So if you didn't have Peacock, you didn't see Dolphins at Chiefs. If you didn't have Peacock, you didn't miss much. What I learned from this game is Tua is not ready for prime time.
Especially in the cold. No.
Yeah, I mean, people were like, oh, it's because of the cold. I don't think it was because of the cold.
It didn't help. Definitely did not help.
I'm sure it didn't help. It doesn't help anybody except running backs. But even the running game for the Dolphins was weak. So the Chiefs get away 26-7. They were never really challenged in this game. I mean, the Chiefs made a lot of mistakes. Travis dropped 2 balls that Travis don't drop.
See that?
One of which would have been a touchdown.
He's too distracted.
Too distracted by his lady love. Hey, listen, he's gotten very few penalties. Just tell him to listen. Taylor, just sit him down and goes, if you want to put your hands on this, you better put your hands on every pass thrown to you today. The end. And then that's it. But the Chiefs advanced 26-7, which leaves me in a weird position, and I said this on my stream on Sunday when Craig was playing video games with me, of rooting for the Steelers on Sunday so the Chiefs can host a playoff game. We'll get to that in a minute. Fast forward to Sunday. So wait, so your take was it was the cold? Is that what your take was? I don't think
I know. I think it was a combination of the cold, it being a giant playoff game in Kansas City, and just the Dolphins. Like I've already seen, and I don't take much credit to these because you have to take everything you see online with a grain of salt. But the people are saying that the Dolphins need to look for a new quarterback already, especially with the more talk that Tyreek Hill may or may not retire.
Wow. Okay.
So.
Takes us to Sunday and Packers Cowboys, the only upset of the weekend.
I mean, was it really an upset given the Cowboys
by seeding?
By seeding, yes, but given the Cowboys' track record,
Yeah.
Not so
Well, the
much.
Cowboys had been almost undefeatable at home. They'd won 6 straight home games. Like, they were playing lights out ball at home, and this team looked lost.
Yeah.
So what was your takeaway? Let's start with you on this one. What was your takeaway from this one?
It was the Cowboys in the playoffs since 1996. Since 1996, they're 0-8. Now are they 0-9? Before this, like in the playoffs at home, the Packers have a better record in playoff games in Dallas than the Cowboys in the last 30 years.
Yes, the Packers have won more playoff games in Dallas than the Dallas Cowboys have.
Yes.
Since that stadium opened, yes.
So
my takeaway from this was brutally hard to watch because it was covered on Fox. It was Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson, and they so clearly had an agenda from the absolute get-go. After the first series, they showed Dak Prescott talking to CeeDee Lamb as they walked off the field. And they replayed it as they came back from a break and were like, CeeDee Lamb getting some information. Dak doesn't look happy. They're clearly not on the same page. Blah, blah, blah. Next series, afterwards, they come back from a break and they show Mike McCarthy with his hand on CeeDee Lamb's shoulder as CeeDee Lamb is sitting on the bench. Oh, McCarthy's now talking to CeeDee Lamb. Something's definitely up. The entire rest of the game was, why are CeeDee Lamb and Dak not on the same page? The entire rest of the game. And I started to buy into it. I just looked at my wife and I said, something ain't right with those two. And then I stopped and really thought about it. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm getting gaslighted.
It worked.
It worked. Fox has me questioning whether or not CeeDee Lamb has... But I didn't take it as he quit or there was beef. I got the feeling CeeDee Lamb's mind wasn't there or he wasn't feeling right. Like, I would not be shocked if they came out this week and were like, CeeDee Lamb's having surgery. Something was wrong and he's having surgery. That wouldn't shock me. But, like, the way Fox was playing it up, like tomorrow, if this had been wrestling, if this had been like a pay-per-view, then Monday would have opened with CeeDee Lamb coming out to talk about how disappointed he was in his tag team match with Dak Prescott. And then Dak would come out and interrupt and say, all right, we're going to settle this right now. And they would have a fight. That's the way Fox promoted it.
That would be kind of awesome, actually.
I mean, you know, if you've ever watched wrestling, you know that's how they love to fracture a tag team. You have a bad pay-per-view, and then one side comes out and blames the other, and now you've got a head-to-head, you know. So, but anyway, so my takeaway from this was just Fox did a terrible. Fox had an agenda. They wanted us to question CeeDee Lamb's integrity from the get-go, and what I question is the Cowboys as a unit and their coaching. They looked woefully unprepared as a defense, and they are a good defense. And they looked lost against a first-year quarterback, a first-year starter.
Yeah. Yep.
And much love to Jordan Love, because he's done something. This is now 2 things that he has done that neither Favre or Aaron Rodgers could do. Not only did he win a playoff game in his first year as a starter, but he's gone an entire year without saying something stupid or committing some sort of crime. And that's not something that Favre and Rodgers can say this year.
You know what is crazy, though? Because people were stitching together clips of the 3 of them. Mm-hmm. Because Rodgers stayed behind Favre for 3 years, and then Love stayed behind Rodgers for 3 years.
Yep.
But if you watch clips of all 3 of them throwing, they all throw the same way, and it's kind of weird.
Because they all learn from each other.
I know, but it's just, you don't really see that happen. They throw exactly like off their back foot and kind of sidearm. It's kind of funny.
I'm very much of the camp that you shouldn't start your rookie year. I mean, I know Peyton Manning. Got to throw Peyton Manning to the Wolves. So
that's
Peyton
why he
Manning
threw 28 touchdown or interceptions that year, or some insane number.
But look what happened. He matured into this great quarterback. Okay, that's Peyton Manning is a different class. Patrick Mahomes sat a year behind Alex Smith. If you sit there and say, okay, well, Alex Smith, we're going to part ways and we're going to go with Mahomes. Does Mahomes mature the way he did? I don't think so. I think having that year to sit and really learn an offense and watch how it's done and talk to coaches like Andy Reid and great quarterbacks like Alex Smith, because whether you like it or not, Alex Smith was a very efficient quarterback.
He was.
Everywhere he went.
He was.
So, like it or leave it. All right. So we're done making fun of the Cowboys. Once again, if the Cowboys want to go to the Super Bowl this year, they will need tickets. But
Oh, Jerry Jones.
actually,
I'm actually surprised he hasn't fired everyone yet.
It's coming. McCarthy won't be back. I guarantee McCarthy won't be back.
It's going to be like Garrett. He's just going to lock the door. Not tell him.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say this. I was in a meeting today at my full-time job, and it was like 55 people on this Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it's like a minute after 10, and there's only like 30 people on the call. So our CEO is on the call. He goes, "We're going to wait just a few minutes for everybody to wander in. If there's any questions or anything people want to ask that don't require the full group, now's a great time." And our CEO is a diehard Giants fan. And he was like, "So if anybody's got anything while we're waiting 2 minutes, go ahead." And I almost unmuted and said to him, "Yeah, I'd just like to know how you feel about the Cowboys' loss."
You should have asked him.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it, but I should have. So, okay, moving on. Rams-Lions, I'm going to be honest, I did not watch this game.
I did. I was rooting for the Lions.
I went to bed. I think I said it to Terry Zhang yesterday. I think the Lions are a team of destiny. I think the Lions probably make the championship at this game. I'm sorry, the Super Bowl at this rate. But all right, so tell us your impression. What would you take away from Rams-Lions?
So my takeaway would really be the Lions are very good. I think Jared Goff played really well. Their defense kind of worried me because they showed flashes of greatness and then flashes of But like the first drive the Lions had, like the Rams could not stop them at all. I really did think that I don't think you may have saw us yelling about it in chat, but there was towards the end of the first half, the Lions had the ball. I don't remember. It was less than like 30 seconds left. I don't remember. It was not a lot of time, but there was the next play. There's a flag, and everyone on the Lions thought it was offsides or neutral zone infraction or whatever.
Okay.
And they called it a false start on the offensive line. And when you look at the replay, the guy on the Rams literally jumps into the neutral zone, which makes the offensive lineman like flinch, which is what they called him on. And then they had to kick the ball. I was like, what? Why?
I think that we've talked about a million times the officiating. It has not gotten better in the playoffs.
No, it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse as time goes on. But I think it was a really good game, and yeah, I'm just rooting for the Lions this year because I know.
Yeah, I am really pulling for them just because they're the last of the original teams that's never played in the Super Bowl. So I'd like to see them at a Super Bowl this year.
And now the Rams are my NFC mortal enemy. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I know the Source and Cinch both think I'm nuts that helmet to helmet that cracked Patrick Mahomes' helmet during the Chiefs game. I think that should have been a call at the penalty because the sources sent to be graphs with the eye lines and the eye position. The defender leaned forward and leaned with his helmet. Yeah, but he was looking right at him. Okay. So he was looking him straight in the eyes when he made helmet to helmet contact. It's still helmet to helmet contact. And it's not because the helmet shattered. It was fucking cold, people. Those things are made of fiberglass. There's chemicals. It's physics. Okay, I'm not saying that.
Like I didn't see it. Like isn't just usually called on whoever has if they're running, not if they're catching. If they're running, don't they just call it on whoever leaned forward first?
And they both leaned into it, which is probably why it was decided to be a no call. But my point is, we can't keep making that a no call because it just keeps happening, and then head injuries keep happening. Right. So when people sit there and go, "That's just hard football," okay, but you're going to lose the game you love because that's what you think of that. Eventually, what if Patrick Mahomes doesn't get up? What if the defender falls over and is unconscious after that contact? Is it still good football? I mean, that's the thing. We have to start really addressing in the NFL the whole things that cause head injury stuff.
Right. So
that's the thing.
What actually happened during the Rams game was Tyler Higbee caught a pass over the middle and he had to jump for it. And the defender, as you know, the defender can't hit them like in their upper body anywhere. So he hit him in his leg and he tore his ACL. Yeah. And I forgot who was calling the game, but they're like, we talked to players and they said they would rather be hit in the upper body than in the knee.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? That's probably because these guys are thinking, this season, next season, my career. If my knee gets shattered, I don't know what happens to my career. I get hit in the head in this play. We'll see what happens.
We should, and I get it. The source and since we're making fun of me, just get flags or two-hand touch that. You're gonna kill your own game, kids. The tackle zone should be between the shoulders and the knees. That's it. You should not be able to hit higher than the shoulders. You should not be able to hit the knees or lower.
Yeah, it's like a human strike zone.
Right. I mean, well, what if you're laying on the ground? You wrap up his ankles. Okay, then make that exception. The knees are off limits, but feet and ankles are fine. Okay, that's fine too. We did it with horse collars, right? We saw the injuries coming with horse collar tackles, so we made it illegal for a horse collar tackle to happen. Why is it so hard to sit there and say you cannot strike a player in the head and apply it to both sides of the ball? If it is clear that the offense is trying to hit someone in the head to try and draw a penalty, which you could make the argument that Mahomes may have been doing, he lowers his head too. I'm not suggesting that this is purely a defensive penalty, but there's got to be something where people have to start thinking, I can't hit them in the head. Yeah. And it's got to apply to everybody, not just passers. So,
yeah, that's the thing too. There's a big people want to get rid of hip tackles, but my problem, I understand how it can be dangerous. I get it. Like the whole sport is dangerous, clearly. But my problem with that is if they say they make hip tackles illegal, there is literally no way for you to tackle someone if you're chasing them.
Yeah.
There's no way to do it. You're gonna try to dive like you're playing Madden and hope you hit him. There's no way to do it.
And what happens if you dive and you hit his knee?
Oh, see, there's a penalty.
So you dive forward and the guy jukes left, and that gives you that half a foot. That gives you the extra foot that you need in the dive to make contact, and you go straight into his knee.
Yeah.
That people are going to be bitching about that. I get it. Football's a violent game, but there's common sense things we could do, like not messing with the head to make it a little bit safer. So, all right. Steelers-Bills, pretty much as we expected. Now I got to the Bills advance, and now they're going to play the Chiefs. My father-in-law
there's another blizzard coming.
Oh, fantastic. There's my father-in-law is a diehard Bills fan.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's already reached out to me and asked me if I would bet $2 on the game. And I said yes. And I said, and I'll tell you this, win or lose, I'll throw in a steak dinner. And now he's all excited because he's going to get steak out of it. But we like having them over for steak. So at some point, nothing shocking here. The Bills are starting to look like the Bills again. The Bills are finally starting to understand they can use James Cook. Every drive does not have to include a 30-yard completion to Stephon Diggs.
Are you sure?
I watched every minute of this game, and hold on, let me see game details. I'll open up. I want to see what the numbers were for Diggs. I mean, they weren't tremendous. They weren't bad, but they weren't tremendous either. Bills. Allen threw for 203. The leading receiver was Dalton Kincaid. Diggs caught 7 for 52 on 9 targets. So Diggs is still getting his, but he's only averaging 7 yards a catch. That says to me they're starting to utilize other people, and that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see James Cook have 4 catches. I want to see Khalil Shakir have 3 for 31 and a touchdown. The more of a threat other people are, the more of an opportunity it's going to open for Diggs. And that's the thing. They weren't running Cook earlier in the year, and then they changed offensive coordinators. So my takeaway from this was you're finally balancing yourself out as a team by using Cook. What did you take away from Steelers Bills?
It was fun to watch. I'm not really surprised. I feel like the Steelers were that outlying playoff team where you're like, should they really be here?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the Packers deserved it more than the Steelers.
I can agree with that.
So they played the way I expected, really. I was expecting them to just, try to at least hurt someone on the Bills by the end of the game. So It was what I expected. And they're, like I said, their quarterback situation is not it's not good.
Okay, that brings us to the Eagles at the Bucks. The Eagles get destroyed. I did not watch this, but my youngest nephew is very much an Eagles fan because they have been good and he loves Jalen Hurts. He talked a lot of shit at Christmas, man.
Did he?
Talked a lot of shit at Thanksgiving and Christmas because right before Thanksgiving they beat the Chiefs 21-17 and he talked a lot of shit. And then Christmas came and I remember saying to him, "Hey, what's going on with your guys? They've lost 3 games in a row." And he yelled at me. He was not happy with that. But when you look at it, since beating the Bills in overtime in week 12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. They lost 5 of their last 6 games. And they lost games to people like the Cardinals and the Giants. So, for me, the takeaway is that Philadelphia needs to figure out what it's doing and be consistent because what this says to me is that they've been figured out. Did you watch this game? Did anything stick out to you?
I watched the first quarter of it. It was bad. It's now Jalen Hurts is 0-2 against Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and now it's gonna be in his head. So the Eagles definitely had a Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, it felt like a Super Bowl hangover. Absolutely. All right, we've only got a few minutes left. Let's go through the schedule this week really quick and just make some. So I want a prediction and I want something you're looking for. It could be a player, it could be a trend, whatever it is. We start with Texans at Ravens. I am looking for the Texans defense to keep Lamar Jackson stationary. And I don't think they can do it. And because they can't do it, I think the Ravens win.
Yeah, I think this will. I mean, clearly he's going to be the key. And I was going to pretty much say the same thing as you. The only way you really beat him is by, I won't even say sacking him. I would say containing him.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he doesn't run past the line of scrimmage, you could be okay. And like I said,
get those runs down to under 5 yards.
He's gotten
Let him
much
scramble
better.
for 3.
He's gotten much better since he had LASIK. So with his passing. But yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. But I think Baltimore's going to wind up winning. Especially, didn't they just sign Dalvin Cook?
Did they? Yeah, they did.
So
yeah, Dalvin Cook's there now. My God.
That should be a good game.
That leads us to Saturday night. Packers at Niners. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm calling it right now. I'll take the Packers. I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have had this bizarre, and I said this to Terry yesterday too. I have 0 statistics to back this up because the 49ers have been an unstoppable beast all year. I've got a gut feeling that the 49ers are going to come out flat.
Yeah.
49ers are going to come out flat. And so I'm taking the Packers, and my thing to watch is going to be Christian McCaffrey because his player prop is 92.5 yards rushing, and I'm taking the under. And it's all based on a gut feeling. I will not be shocked if I'm wrong next week. Will not be shocked in the slightest. But my gut feeling is taking the Packers and the Niners come out flat.
Yeah, as long as it's not as bad as that last playoff game, because that was, when they had their 5th string quarterback.
Oh yeah,
that was bad. Yeah, this is. I mean, listen, Dallas's defense was really good this year, and so were the 49ers. So now, if I was the 49ers, I'd be kind of worried. Green Bay came into these playoffs with really nothing to lose.
Yeah.
That last game, all the pressure was on Dallas. So I think the same thing is going to happen here. I think now here's the key. As long as Green Bay does not make any mistakes, if they play a perfect game, I can see them winning this game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is going to be a closer game, but that brings us to Sunday after the 2-1 seeds play on Saturday. Sunday, we start with Bucks at Lions. I'm going to take the Lions at home over the Bucks. And my thing to watch can be Goff. If Goff throws more touchdowns than interceptions, the Lions win. The end.
Listen right now. I'll tell you this. I refuse to watch a Super Bowl starring Baker Mayfield. I can't do it.
It's going to be even if they got by the Bucks, they'd have to get by the Niners next. There's no way that's happening.
Yeah. No, I think Detroit takes this game. I agree with you. I think Detroit I think they're having their Bengals moment from 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
This Lions team just feels like a team of destiny to me. It feels like it feels like a really good story, and I'm not shocked. I won't be shocked if they make the championship. That brings us to Chiefs at Bills. Ugh. You said snow, right?
Another lake effect snowstorm could be in the future.
All right, let's do this live. We'll go to weather.com. All right, I need to see Orchard Park, New York. There you are. Okay, Orchard Park, New York. Okay. And we got to look at, okay, lake effect snow warning is already in effect there now. So that's okay, forecast Thursday snow.
Mm-hmm.
8 to 12 inches tonight. Tomorrow being Thursday, another 1 to 3. Then Friday, another 1 to 3. And then Saturday, it starts to taper off. And then Sunday is going to be partly cloudy and 17 degrees at night. So that means
take the
they're
under.
Gonna have to, yeah, they're going to have to clear out that facility Saturday night. Yeah, I actually took. Oh, that's funny. I just asked NFL.com. There's an available odds tab on their scoring thing because I thought it'd be easy, and it says you are not in a state with legalized sports betting. The fuck, I'm not.
Oh, yes, we are. It's literally everywhere now.
It's not literally everywhere now. I hit like 4 parlays this weekend. I took a bunch of wuss parlays this weekend. I'm not gonna lie. I took a lot of the most cheese ass. Like, let me see if I can find one. One of the ones that I hit. I hit one on the
It's funny. Our state went from nothing, and you ever see that meme where that person opens a laptop and like whatever time of season it is, that's what they get in the face with. So if it's like, if it's like Halloween, there's all these pumpkins that fly out of the laptop. That's what I feel about like sports betting now. If you open up a computer in Connecticut or a phone,
sports betting flies at you.
Sports betting literally everywhere.
So one of the things I hit was Aaron Jones anytime touchdown scorer, Dak over 288, and CeeDee Lamb over 98. And that was plus 370. That's a wuss. The hard part of that is Aaron Jones going to score, and Aaron Jones scored the first and second touchdowns of the game.
Yeah, thanks. They were doing this in the playoffs, jerk.
I'm looking at. Dak's only got like 99 yards passing in the first half. They're going to throw the ball like every play. They're desperate. They're going to throw the ball constantly. He ends up with like 300. I think he ended up with 400 yards. Threw for over 300 yards in the second half. So,
oh wow,
I think so. All right. So anyway, this game.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm taking
bet the under. That's all I got. That's
really
all I got.
The
just bet the under, whatever it is.
But you got to pick a winner. So bet the under could be your observation. But who's the winner?
Kansas City, because I have no faith in Buffalo. I'm sorry.
Okay, so the over/under is 45. You like the under still?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Chiefs, and this is why I'm looking at the DraftKings line right now. The Chiefs money line is plus 120 because they're the underdogs. They're on the road, and rightfully so, right?
Right.
Plus 120 money line, or I can take plus 2.5 for the Chiefs and still get plus 100.
Oh, not bad.
Right?
Not bad.
That tells me all the money on the line is on the Bills side of the ball. When it's a positive payout with points, like I'm looking at all the other games, they're all minus 110 on both sides of the ball. This one's minus 112 to minus 108. The Chiefs are plus 100 with 2.5 points. So yeah, I've already bet that. I have already comboed it. I've already parlayed the Chiefs with the plus 2.5 and the money line and a Rashee Rice touchdown. I think the Chiefs win this. I think it's going to be a great game. It's at 6:30 at night. I pray for my liver. I hope to God I make it to work the next morning because it is going to, Saturday, right before we go to final thoughts here, Saturday, I made the mistake. I went to Tribus with Sean and his wife, and I had 3 beers, and then I came home and ate some dinner, and then the game started, and I had four more drinks. I had a scotch and then 3 more beers on top of that.
And you got your wife drunk.
What's that?
And you got your wife drunk on scotch.
Well, we only had the one glass, but each had one glass. But yeah, I'm sitting there and it's like the game is ending, and I'm like, I went to stand up and I went, holy shit! I just realized I had seven drinks today. That is a lot for a normal human being.
It's like you're on a cruise.
It's like I'm on a cruise. And now, granted, I had 7 drinks, but I've been drinking all day from like noon on. And so when I woke up the next morning with a mild hangover, I was not surprised. But, I did my vitamins and all that fun shit, so I could try to avoid it. But all right. So that's what we're looking at for this week. Got 4 big games, 8 teams left. Next week will be championship Sunday. Conference championship Sunday, and then 2 weeks we'll have the Super Bowl. Can't believe this is where we're at already, but this is where we're at already. Yeah. So, all right, Craig, final thoughts for this week. We're going into the divisional round of the playoffs. What do you want the people to know?
Divisional round of playoffs, just I've said this randomly, just bet smart. Make a crazy parlay. Just go ahead and do it, but don't bet $1,000 on it.
No.
So, but yeah, that's it really.
Take a long shot bet. Take $1 and put it on something that's plus 3,000. Just do it.
Yeah. Or just make one up. Yeah, sure.
It might be Patrick Mahomes rushes for 4 touchdowns.
It could happen. It could happen.
Probably won't. But if it does, and you win $31 on your $1 bet, think of your old friends here. That's all I'm saying. So, for me, it is. I am so excited. We're near the end of this season. I normally start counting and say to myself, oh my God, there's only 7 games of meaningful football left. I got to watch every freaking minute. I'm not there this year. This year has been so enjoy what you want to enjoy in football. Don't feel like I'm probably not going to watch the entirety of Texans Ravens. I'll probably watch the first half. I'll probably fall asleep at halftime of Packers Niners. So enjoy the games, but don't start stressing about the lack of football coming up. Just enjoy the games and, drink and bet responsibly. That's where I go this week. The other thing you could do responsibly is leave us a review. Whatever podcast directory you found us on, go on there and leave us a review. Apple Podcasts is the easiest one to do that, but we love to hear from you and we love the good feedback. Also, you can reach out to us. You have a question, you have a comment, you want to tell me I'm insane because I hate the Steelers, that's fine. There's a number of ways you can do that. You can write to us. We are fignutsdfs@gmail.com. We are also the Football Fignuts Podcast on Facebook. Feel free to reach out to us either way. All right, Craig, this week, next week, Super Bowl, and accidentally, it works out that if we take the week off between the conference championships and the Super Bowl, our Super Bowl episode will be episode number 300.
Oh, that's very smart of you. I like it.
No, it was accidental because the computer didn't want to work.
Oh, that's actually that right. See? Fate.
Thank you, computer. Thank you for your help. And thank you, everybody, for listening to us. We really appreciate it. A quick hi to Deb, as always. But we'll be back next week to break down the the conference championship, break down the divisional wins and losses, probably complain about the officiating, because that's what we do, and then break down the conference championship weekend matchups. So until we speak next, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast.